Hey guys, so hope everyone's ready for, I guess, another video on underrated series. This is more of a kind of redo of the last video I made, John Brenner. Um, the reason I'm doing this is because I rewatched that video after a coaching colleague of mine watched it and contacted me, and a lot of the video, I didn't realize the stuff I actually said in that video, whether it be technical or whatever. And the reason why, and I might have mentioned that in the video, it was the day after my surgery, and I was hopped up on a bunch of medications, and I didn't even remember what I said on the second half of that video. And the stuff I said in the second half of the video was just completely wrong. So this is one of the only, I think the first time I'm actually going to redo a video and take that video down, because I don't want that misinformation out there. All right, and I think this is important enough to redo this video. Normally, I've never really had a reason to do this, I think. I don't think, at least. But after talking to some coaches who were around during John Brenner's time and all that, and learning a lot more about him, there was a lot of things I got wrong. I'm not gonna lie, that's on me. I literally woke up and I was in like a dazed haze, and I was like, oh, I'll make a video. I should not have made a video during the state I was in when I was on like 8 different pain medications and stuff, and so that's also probably why it sounded a little weird in that video. I know that's not an excuse or anything, it's just the reality, but I didn't realize a lot of the stuff I actually said. I didn't remember a lot of stuff I said until I rewatched that video yesterday. I was like, oh my goodness, is this me talking? Because I did not, I didn't agree with me. So I'm actually redoing this. So this video, we're gonna talk a lot more in detail. I'm gonna try and not do a lot of fluff and just get right to it. So I'm gonna take that video down. So this is basically gonna be the video that's on my channel. Alright, so with that said, let's get into it. Alright, so this is John Brenner, coached by the legendary Art Venegas. I consider the greatest shot put coach ever. This is a 70 plus throw in 1984. Don't know the actual distance, and I do apologize again, this was in the 80s, so it was filmed, no offense, on like a potato, so it's very hard to actually see like the fine details. I also chose a different video because the video I used previously for my other video didn't actually show a lot of his throw. So that's also another reason I got a lot of stuff wrong, particularly his finish. So seeing this angle of him throwing, yeah, okay, I kind of get it now. So, okay, I do get it now, I should say. After talking to a lot of people about him and learning a lot more about him, I actually did my due diligence. This is why it took a little, because I've been researching this for a couple weeks now. Or not a couple weeks, more like a lot more research than I usually do. Like at least a week. So I've been researching him a lot more than I did in that video, because again, I just woke up and I don't know why I even made a video. But, yeah. So there's a couple things. I'm not going to try and reference the other video I made too much, because a lot of the stuff I said just flat out not true. I don't want that on my record. I don't want that reputation as someone who gives false information out. Alright, so I want to try and be as true as possible and as accurate as possible. Alright, so that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm also going to try and be a lot more detailed in my analysis of his technique instead of just glossing through a lot of stuff. Though this isn't the point of this series. The underrated series is more of just highlighting his career, or like their careers and these throwers' careers, and just bringing attention for like the newer generation of throwers. I say that like I'm like 50 years old, but you know what I mean. So, yeah. So let's get into it. John Brenner, ranked 15th all time, PR of 2252, NCAA champion, discus and shot put as well. Competed pro. Unfortunately, he got bronze in world championships. I'll link all his accomplishments, height, weight, And notable accomplishments is always in the video description, so I'm not going to list everything. But his career got cut short, sadly, because he was doing depth jumps and had a career-ending knee injury. I still don't know the actual injury. I just know it had to be bad enough that it ended his career, which is sad because he was one of them ones. I mean, in that short time span that he had post-collegiate, or I should say pro, I mean, he got a bronze medal at the Worlds. He threw 22.52, which is insane. And for a time, he held the collegiate record at I think 21.92, something like that. I'll not link that. I'll list that in the video description. It was 21.90 something, which got broken by John Godina later down the road. So also another one coached by Art. So, and yeah, other than that, like, let's get into it. I want to get a lot more into his technique. So, I'm pretty sure, judging by the colors that he's wearing, this is still UCLA. Although I could just be wrong. I can't even see the... I can't read what's on his shirt. I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to assume those are UCLA colors. So, actually, this might not be UCLA. I don't know. Whatever. It was a 70-plus foot throw. Who cares? All right. So, let's get into it. So, I really love traditional start right here. Tap of the foot. Love that. Establishing rhythm. Really good. Really relaxed here. Gets here. So, something I didn't talk about in the other video is... Well, I didn't talk about a whole lot in that video, actually, about technique. Because, again, that's not really the emphasis. But for this particular video, and if you guys want me to do a lot more technical analysis when I do this series, I am more than happy to. I can talk for hours and hours about technique. If you guys really want to hear me talk about technique for hours and hours. Most people don't. But, trust me. Okay, first of all, this video is not going to be 3 hours long, so I got to get to work in like 2 hours. But, so I am on a little time crunch, but I'm doing this when I'm awake because I'm a morning person. So I want to be fully attentive for this video. So, but enough fluff. Let's get into this. So, love this. Love the little rounded back. Again, I love gliders that don't really arch their back. True gliders. Like actual thrower gliders. Not like heps or decks. I'm going to be making a video in the coming weeks about the difference between like coaching a heptathlete and a decathlete. Decathlete versus like an actual thrower, because there are major differences. They're almost completely different throws, but I'll get more into that. But this is mainly just talking about actual just like throwers. All right, so, but I'm working still on that video and stuff, doing just a little bit more research, making sure I'm getting that more accurate. All right, so here. Really love this. So you see how his butt or his glutes aren't sticking back already. So he's more doing like a RDL or a Romanian deadlift, getting the hamstring engaged, and more of, you see how his chest is like, let me get an actual straight line. His chest is over his toes and actually out of the circle. All right. Really nice here. So all his weight is forward. This is going to give him a lot of room to sit back and get a lot more stretch reflex and a stretch shortening cycle through this. So the reason why you see gliders go here and bring this knee in or do a lot of movement, one, establishes rhythm. Two, it basically acts as like if you're a rotational shot putter and you're doing a wind. And that wind is creating that stretch shortening cycle. That's what they're doing here. All right. So what he's doing here, and what this is going to do is it's going to give him this momentum instead of just starting static. So he starts tall so he can sit back. All right. So you notice here, and he kind of rocks a little bit. Not as much as some gliders, but a lot more. Like a lot more than... No, wait, that's not true. Whatever. Sorry, I had a little brain fart. I had to turn my fan off. What was I saying? Oh, sorry. Okay, so he's doing... So, okay. Oh, sorry. I had a really big brain fart. Okay, so he's rocking. A lot of gliders maybe rock onto their toes and then sit back onto their heel. He just kind of stays, from what I can tell. Again, this is very grainy footage, so he could be on his toes a little bit. I for real like cannot see that. So, and it's also in the shadow, so I definitely can't see. But it looks like, from what I can tell, he's flat-footed. All right. So that's fine too, as long as he starts with a lot of his weight forward over his toe. Because if you start falling back already, I mean, there's not much you can do. There's no stretch, there's no momentum, there's no nothing you can do. So you're just kind of just relying a lot more on your muscles. It's like the difference between, like, if you're doing like a rotational shot and you're doing a static versus a wind. I mean, the wind is going to be easier than a static throw. Well, just starting like here and like moving nothing is going to be way harder than starting up and then like kind of sitting back, letting gravity help you a lot more. All right, so that's very important if you're a glider. All right, so you see very few gliders that throw really far start static in a competition. You know, they might do it for like a drill or something. Although I don't really see that very commonly either. But granted, I don't know as much about the glide as I do rotational shot and disc, so I will admit that, but I know a lot, contrary to popular belief. But, so here, really like, let me get a nice curly line. Wow. I'm not an artist. Okay, that's straight. Whatever. Okay, you get a curved back right here. I really like that. Now notice he's not too relaxed. All right, so he's not arching his back and tightened up. He's more. It just looks just relaxed, athletic, comfortable. Comfortable is the right word. It more looks comfortable. I love this for gliders. I really love this because I believe that if you arch your back a lot and you try and start really low, you're going to want to pop up a lot. So what I mean by that is when he drives, if his back was arched, it would be a lot easier. It's not impossible to stay down, but it's a lot harder to do if your arch is back. But if his back was arched, you know, like he'd be a lot more like here. And I see that a lot in beginners especially. All right, so if you're starting as low as him, which if you want to do the glide, I haven't really seen a glider throw really, really far, man or woman, that doesn't start really low, because staying low in the glide is one of the most important concepts. The second you go up in the glide, you lose a lot of distance. You lose a lot of power. All right, you lose a lot of your levers. You lose a lot. All right, so main thing in the glide, stay as low as you possibly can. You will rise just a little bit just because you're driving off your legs and like you don't want to just fall on the ground. So like there's going to be a little bit of up, but you never want to be completely up. You never want to just be straight-legged and like straight-backed and just like standing like a statue. All right. So, and it's hard for me to really like show you that with a line because he does a fantastic job of staying down, obviously, because, you know, and especially in this throw, he's throwing 70 plus feet. So what do you know? Go figure. He's doing something right, at least. So, all right. So, but really love that. Another thing I really like, again, this is filmed on the right side. But you can see his left arm here. Actually, though, let's get to his, let's get to his left arm first, and then I'll get to his, I call the kick leg, whatever, like whatever you want to call it. But we'll get to his left arm now. So his left arm, down, relaxed. And you notice, so he's here. When his knee comes in, it looks like, you see like a lot of gliders, when the knee comes in, their left arm or their off arm goes back. And it goes in rhythm, and then they kind of shoot forward a little with that left arm or the off arm while the kick leg is kicking back. All right. Him, it doesn't look like he does it that much. Like, it looks like a little bit. It more just looks, again, it's so hard to see, and I'm also have really terrible eyesight, so that doesn't help. But it's not like he's doing like a Ralph Bartels or anything, like left arm or anything. Like, it's not like super exaggerated. It still looks rhythmic. It still looks awesome. So if it's not, doesn't it looks like it moves just a little bit? Yeah. Okay, it's hard to tell. It's not, and the fact it's hard to tell just tells me it's just not moving very much. So whatever, tomato, tomato. That's important. All right, that's very important because this left arm is basically, I think of it like the sweep in rotational shot, where that's your counterbalance. That's gonna, if the further you can keep that back, and what I mean by back is towards the back of the ring when you're going through the throw, the more balanced you'll be, the easier it'll be to stay on your drive leg. So if you're a right-handed thrower, it'd be your right leg. Left-handed thrower would be your left leg. All right. The second that goes more, your left arm goes more this way when you're going through the ring, it's going to be a lot easier, one, to pop up. It's going to be a lot easier to shift way too early onto your block leg and not work the ground as long as you possibly could have with your right leg. So that's important to remember. So as he's here, he does a great job of not opening. So you see his shoulders are still going here. And, he pops up a little because every glider does. I feel like it's physically impossible not to. But you see he's not like straight. He's just in a stand throw now. All right? So that's fine. What I mean by popping up is so he landed here and he was, instead of over his right, he was just like straight, oh my God. Okay, let me get a straight line. That's not a line. Hold up. Sorry. Oh my God. Okay. If he was just here, all right, and he wasn't on his right. So if you like that and you're just straight up and his center of mass was more here instead of here, that's bad, all right, because you're just straight up, like try and take a stand throw just standing straight. Like, you're not going to throw very far, all right? That's just simple biomechanics. Like, you just want to stay over this right, you want to land over the right, and that's really important. So you notice here, he keeps his head back, he keeps his shoulders back towards the ring, all right? And as he goes, he drives off this right. And as he drives off the right, he kicks back with this left leg. All right. Does an amazing job here. Keeping the shoulders back once again. Right here. Okay, if it will stay there. Okay, cool. All right. So you notice how his left hip is facing there. His right hip is still facing like a little bit over there. That's what you want. This is how you get that stretch in the glide, all right? So you don't want to be here, and this left knee is still pointed towards the back of the ring, all right? Because then you're going to land, your hips won't be under you. In the glide, when you land, both your feet should at least be facing 90 or to the side. So for him, it would be like towards this guy right here. All right, which he does, I'm pretty sure, a fantastic job of. Again, I can't really see very much because of the quality of the footage. But if he did not open this leg, so you see, let's go frame by frame. So we're just paying attention this leg, so his left leg. So he's here, it's back, and then you see how it kind of opens, and he's got kind of, I don't want to say twisting, but let's just say opening his left hip, his left foot right here. All right, so you see how it kind of just curls a little bit out, and that provides a lot of stretch in his left side, makes it a lot easier to stay on his right side. All right, so he lands here. Oops, that went a little too far. Lands here. Oh my God, stop moving, please. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Not very good with technology. Where was it? Okay, so he lands here. Very nice. Over the right, shoulders over the right. It looks like a great stack. I'm assuming it is because it's a 70-foot throw, and I've never seen someone throw 70-plus feet and with any weight without being stacked. So I'm just going to think it's safe to assume he's stacked. It looks like it. Shoulder over the right foot. Sorry. Yeah, right shoulder over the right foot. Really nice. Shot put still behind the foot. Really nice for a glider, especially. The left foot's open, so the left foot pointed there, right foot pointed there. Gets a tremendous stretch in his groin. Very nice for rotational and glide. All right, this is just a great position no matter what, really, for really anybody. Like if a rotational thrower landed this position, it would be fantastic as well. All right, really nice. You see, you can't even see his left arm. It's still behind him, which is really nice. You still want that shot, the shoulders to be facing back as much as possible. All right, now from here, he starts to shift over. All right, shift over the block, turns that foot, turns that right hip super aggressively. And you notice, I hope you guys can really, it's really hard to see what he's doing with his left arm. His left arm goes from here, and let me get this line. It goes around, down. So you're going to see that right now. So it goes, up, around, and down. All right, so it looks a lot kind of like a jab block in many ways. So the glide and jab I relate to extensively because they're the only two true linear events in track and field. So you're going to see a lot of similarities, especially in the finish. And especially in the block with the glide and the jab. Now, obviously, they're not exactly the same. You know, you don't hold a jab on your neck. Well, hopefully the jab's nowhere near your neck. That'd be kind of dangerous. But other than that, really nice here. Really nice. So he turns that right foot. Now, I got a lot of flack for saying that you don't really turn the right foot. And I want to make that correction. You do turn the right foot. What I really meant to say was, you know, I haven't seen a glider be like, you know, Fabry or like Krauser and like really grinding and really feeling like turning that right foot. All right. So this is where that jab comes in. So, you know, in javelin, like you don't really see very many jab throwers. Well, they're in spikes on a track. So, you know, they can't really turn the foot like you would in like rotational shot put or discus. However, they do turn the foot. It's just different. So it's more of, they turn the foot, they turn the hip. The hip is the more important part. So you do turn the foot, and he actually turns his right foot a little more than a glider's actually. So he gets here, and you notice when he lands. Let me see, where does he ground? Left foot grounds, I think there. Maybe one more. Yeah, okay. So it's there. Second, that left foot grounds. Everything in the glide happens super fast. Like in rotational shot, you have a little bit of time. A lot more time than the glide. Glide, you can't like go slow to fast. You got to just go immediately because you're like, the ring is smaller because, you know, like rotational shot, part of the reason why they throw super far and why it's a lot more of an advantage to throw in rotational shot because you bring angular momentum and linear momentum through the throw. So what I mean by that is the angular momentum, you know, you basically make the ring bigger, all right? Where in glide, you use just this part of the ring. You just go linear. So the ring is smaller. That's why you tend to see a lot of gliders be a lot taller, all right? Because if you're really tall, like 6'7" plus, it doesn't take as long for your feet to land, and you can get away. First of all, if you're just tall and throwing or doing sports, for most sports, you're just going to be better in most cases just because you have longer levers and stuff. So, but you don't really see very many people like 5'8" or so, especially in men's shot put, like throw glide super far. All right, so it's really advantageous for gliders to have super long limbs and just be tall. All right, super tall. I haven't really seen a 22 plus meter glider that wasn't like maybe. The shortest is like maybe 6'4". I could be a little wrong on that. I'm sure there's always exceptions to the rules. But John Brenner, I'm pretty sure if memory serves me correctly, he was like 6'7". Like he's tall. And obviously strong, built. That's the other thing. Like you gotta be super explosive. You gotta be super coordinated, super athletic. One to just throw, but especially with glide. And to be that tall and to be this explosive and move this well is actually really hard to do. All right, because you have those longer limbs You know, you usually see a lot of really tall people, like if you look at the NBA, and like you see like, especially like back in the day, like 7-footers and stuff. You're like, they're not moving like Kyrie Irving or anything, you know. So it's like it's a lot harder for them to dribble and like just like move, because, you know, it just takes a lot more to move these longer limbs. All right, so you got to be even more athletic if you're taller, honestly, in certain ways. All right, but overall, you have to be super athletic just to throw far. All right, so, but let's get to this back. Let's get back to this. Sorry for that tangent. So you're here. So sorry, he's here. So the right hip turning, and you still work the ground. It's just a little different. So I like to think of the glide finish a little different than rotational. So you do turn still, but you see how he's off the ground just a little bit early. And honestly, for glide, he is exceptionally grounded, actually. Most gliders are like off the ground, like here, like 2 frames earlier. He actually stays grounded, from what I can tell, a lot longer, which is actually crazy. Do I agree with that? Like, whatever makes you throw further. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you get that hip turned and you don't slow down in the finish, do what you want. I don't care. The main goal is you don't want to slow down. If you decelerate in the glide, you're done. Like, you're not going to throw far. That's true in anything, but especially in the glide, because you don't have the advantages of having like all the more time to apply force when you're doing a rotational shot with the glide. The glide happens a lot sooner, a lot less room for error, because you can't make up for a lot of stuff, so as you can in rotational shot. All right, so it's very important that you're super drilled in the glide. You can hit every position basically perfectly, because when you're moving at these kind of speeds to throw this far, you gotta know what you're doing. You gotta be super, what's the word? Muscle memory. So you gotta have that muscle memory dialed for glide, especially because everything just happens faster. All right, so it's like the difference between like driving an F1 car versus like a Camry. Maybe that's a bad, like, versus like a Ferrari. Like the F1 car, everything just happens way faster because it just accelerates so fast compared to like a Ferrari. The Ferrari is still a super fast car and like still like accelerates really far, like the rotational shot put. But, like the F1, like it just happens in a split second. There's no room for error. If you make an error in an F1 car, you're going to fly off. Whereas in a Ferrari, there's a little more room for error. All right, so I don't know if that analogy makes sense. It makes sense to me, but I'm a little weird, so hope that makes sense to you guys. But really nice job. Doesn't decelerate. So I'll play this just regular motion because you can't. So regular motion, so you just hear, boom, lands, attacks immediately. So the second you feel this left foot ground right here, you need to go, and he does a fantastic job of that. You also notice, so right here with his left arm, he's here. This looks very similar to a jab block. And what I mean by that is, like, you see a lot of rotational throwers, they're taught not to tuck their elbow in and to go more around in their block because of, they're creating a lot more angular momentum than in the glide. Or in this, you want to have more of a linear block. So he's reaching out towards the sector and then bringing that elbow in. And that's going to help him stay linear and have a linear finish. All right, you do see some rotation. Whoa, sorry. Ooh, something just flew in my mouth. What was I saying? Oh, Jesus. Sorry, excuse me. You do see some rotational throwers do this, but not very many, especially anymore. This right here, fantastic. I want you to notice like how great he stays on this shot. All right, so he's here. He just stays on the shot put forever. I like to think of the shot put release more like a stroke than a punch. All right, so he's just kind of just stroking it. All right, because you want to stay on that shot as long as possible, whether it's glide or rotational shot put. You want that thing, if you feel like that thing's just gonna fly out of your hand, but like you're kind of forcing it, like you're moving your arm super fast on purpose, and you feel like your hand is moving faster than the actual shot put, that's not a good thing. All right, that's a really big distance killer, and it's hard to see unless you really break it down. And do a lot of like just simple discus shot put releases and just like flick and like hand drills and stuff. So it's hard to tell, but you notice. So let me play this regular motion. Like, yes, it's out of his hand fast, but you notice how he waits. It gets out of his hand here, full extension right here over the toe board. I wish he worked a little more over the toe board. That would be like one little critique, I would say, but I mean, it's fine. I think he fell just a little bit back, just a little bit. I think he could have just attacked a little bit further over that toe board, which I think especially is important in glide, but that's like a nitpicky thing. It's not like he's like flying backwards. So I mean, it's more of he just kind of just stays straight right here instead of just going just a little bit forward. And then, you know, he goes forward there, but I wish the shot was still in his hand and it was just a little bit more over the toe board when it flew out of his hand, but that's a very, very nitpicky thing. You know, it's not like that's like a major distance killer, especially for someone like him. So, yeah, but that's just something to look out for if you're a glider or just a thrower. I coach a lot more out than up, especially in shot put, because the shot put, especially if you're throwing a 16, weighs a lot more. So you tend to want to see more of like a 42-degree release angle in shot put because you want a little more out than up, because the more up you have on your release, the faster gravity is going to pull it down. Where if you have a lot more out, it will have a lot more flight time and less chance for gravity to pull it down a lot more, because it has more energy going that way than that way. All right, so that's a little tip for you. I'm also not saying throw straight at the ground. I tend to like when you see like Ryan Krauser, he's like 6'7", so that's a little bit cheating. But whenever he has like his 23 plus meter throws and stuff, it's like barely above his forehead when it releases. Like it almost looks flat. Again, he's 6'7", so he can get away with a little more. He's gonna have a different release angle than like Joe Kovacs. But even when Joe Kovacs throws super far, it's not like the craziest like high release ever. All right, so here, perfect. Right here, reverse. You notice when he reverses, and I've made a video about this, about the difference between a glide reverse and a rotational reverse. He's here, he slams into that toe board, looks back, bends his knee a little bit, and then, but okay, I didn't record all of it, so you can't really see his full recovery. But you notice he's not here and then like spinning around like a rotational thrower would. That's because of the forces. The forces are just different. All right. So because he creates what did I just do? Sorry. Because he's creating that linear energy, that block is going to translate. So if you're a glider and you're like spinning around a lot after the release and you're like reversing like a rotational shot putter, you're rotating too much in the glide. Like all right, that might be an indicator. If you do that naturally, it might be an indicator you might just need to transition to rotational shot, maybe. But you see gliders, they're here, slam. You do see some rotational shot putters, especially during this time, because a lot of them finish like a glide, because the rotational shot was still kind of relatively new. But especially during this time, you see a lot, and even sometimes, like I've even had throws where I just do kind of glide reverse in discus as well. It's not like a bad thing or anything, but it's not like like if you are a rotational shot putter and you reverse like this, you did something wrong. It's just different. It's just you might have more linear energy into the shot than rotational energy. Now, I'm also not saying for a rotational shot, just to clear up, you don't want to like spin around like 8 times. That just probably means you didn't put a lot of energy into the implement. and all of that's still in your body. All right, but so it's here. So I'm not gonna go into full detail because I actually made a really detailed video. I think it's like 20 minutes long, explaining the differences between the rotational shot reverse and the glide reverse. So if you want to, you can check out that video. But the basics here: lands flat-footed, so he's not on his toe. So his right foot, flat foot, uses the toe board to push him back. All right. Looks down, looks back, fights to stay in. Of course, I didn't do the full recovery. Obviously, this wasn't a foul because it was measured. And overall, just a fantastic job. Let me know if you want me to get more technical. I don't want this to be like an hour-long video because I don't feel like it needs to be. Because I still want like beginners to kind of. I hope you guys understand kind of what I'm saying. I hope I didn't get too technical. Because I do kind of do that sometimes, and something I'm trying to work on with my coaching is over-explaining. So, if you guys want me to make like beginner like versions of videos and then like advanced versions of videos, I can do that too. If you guys want, you can let me know in the comments. But I hope this clears up a bunch of stuff. And yeah, again, I'll link his personal best, height, weight, and notable accomplishments in the video description. And see y'all later. Thanks for watching and have a good day.